Well, it is 7 o'clock, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council members, city officials, and other streaming audience members. Welcome to the October 28, 2024 City Council regular meeting. We are meeting at 26 South Paint Street, Chiillicothe. I apologize for my voice, so I won't be speaking very much tonight. I'll let everybody else do that, but I would ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Bennett. Payne.
Here.
Nickerson.
Here.
Barnes.
Here.
McKeever.
Here.
Dement.
Here.
Preston.
Here.
Prohl.
Here.
Creed.
Here.
Councilwoman Bennett let us know that she could not be here tonight. Is there a motion to excuse her from this meeting? Motion by Mr. McKeever, second by Mr. Dement. Clerk will call the roll.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Ms. Bennett is excused. I'd ask Mr. Prohl to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. The minutes for the October 4th. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Ms. Nickerson, second. Mr. Barnes, clerk will call the roll.
Payne.
Yes.
Nickerson.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
McKeever.
Yes.
Dement.
Yes.
Preston.
Yes.
Prohl.
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Minutes are approved. Moving on to reports of committees. Development Committee, Mr. Dement.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Earlier this evening, the Development Committee authorized the mayor to enter into a construction manager at risk contract. All three members approved of this, and it will pass and move forward to the law director's office. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Engineering Committee, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Engineering has 5 items on tonight's agenda, numbers 1 through 5. All are third reading, and they pertain to updates in our building department and our zoning department's fee schedules, a number of different things. If you want more details, you can look on the online agenda attachments that were sent out by the clerk. I drew a blank there, I'm sorry. Yes, sent out by the clerk. They have and go in full details there. So at the reading, I would appreciate an affirmative vote on these. I think it's time that we do update these particular items. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance and Technology Committee, Mr. Prohl.
Finance and Technology has 2 items on tonight's agenda. That is item number 14 and item number 15. 14 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the City of Chiillicothe to automatically accept and appropriate insurance reimbursement grants, donations, and other funds received for a specific purpose in the amount under $10,000 and declaring emergency. And this, there's no rush on this, is there? Okay, I didn't think there was. So this will go ahead and go for the 3 reads. The first reading on number 15 is for an ordinance appropriating the funds for various end-of-the-year expenses and declaring an emergency. And that concludes my report. Thanks.
Thank you, Human Resources Committee, Ms. Payne.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We do not have any items to report on this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Parks and Rec Committee, Ms. Nickerson.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Council met with American Structure Point last week, and we were presented with the proposed plans of Yaktangi Park. I cannot speak for the other council members, but I would say my personal opinion. I was very impressed with American Structure Point and how they considered our history, public safety, and the beautiful aesthetics they have in mind to improve our experience in the park. I would also like to take this time to thank Mayor Feeney and his staff for applying for this very significant grant and being awarded $32 million from the state of Ohio, which, by the way, was the largest amount awarded in the state. Thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Safety Service Committee, Mr. Creed.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have two items on the agenda tonight, items 8 and 9, both in their second reading. One is to reallocate capital funds, $18,000 for the fire department to pay for Opticom equipment. And the second one is accepting and appropriating $1,000 for the fire department's senior home inspection program. And that concludes our report.
Thank you, Utilities Committee, Mr. McKeever.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. Utilities has nothing on the agenda tonight and nothing to report.
Thank you, City Service Committee, Ms. Preston.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. City Services as well has nothing on the agenda tonight and nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman Bennett is not here for the Community Affairs Committee. Is there any report from anyone else that's on that committee?
Yes, President Shoemaker, I'd like to comment. We met on the 22nd, the committee did, regarding our item number 16 for the first reading of a resolution denouncing the practice of racism in the city of Chiillicothe. We had discussion on the title of it by being specific to racism, and the ordinance or the resolution that was put together speaks more broader of hatred. So denouncing hatred in the city of Chiillicothe. So we decided it was moved to the law director's office, and that's the way the naming come out. And the title of what committee reviewed this and approved it, moved it forward, was listed as Parks and Rec, and it was under Community Affairs, and we'd like to make that change, if that could be altered in any way. Thank you.
I think we can remove that statement about where it came from. If you'd like to change the title under Rule 10, when this comes up, you'll have the ability, if you'd like to make a motion at that point in time, and we can go ahead and have a vote on the amendment to change the title at that point in time. If I make the determination that it hasn't significantly changed the nature of the ordinance itself, then we can go forward and vote on that and go ahead tonight.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to the report of officials. Mayor Feeney.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. I'll start by thanking the Chiillicothe JCs, police department, service department, everybody who, and the community, everybody who helped make the Halloween parade a success. I've probably been to a lot of those, and I don't know if I ever recall seeing so many people. And it was safe, it was fun, the weather cooperated. So just thanks to everybody involved. To follow up on Councilwoman Nickerson's comments about the Appalachian Community Grant, it has been a very interesting process. It was in essence a sprint to get the application in. Once awarded, we've really been able to dive into the details, particularly around what is feasible, what is possible, and we have a few pending questions with the state once those questions are answered, we will have the opportunity then to present to the general public some of what was presented to council last week, and we're excited to do that. I know that the public is anxious to see, but we don't want to present without having some of those things buttoned down. And just to clarify, it was absolutely a team effort. Great folks around me, and we have to thank the county, Ross County commissioners, Devin Shoemaker, for being the lead applicant and working with us so closely on that application. And then one final point, it's actually not 32 million, it's 34.5 million. And the commissioners were successful in the state capital budget request with the assistance of our state representatives and state senators for an additional $5 million. So when this project is all said and done, we have commitments of over $40 million for every aspect of this project. It's going to be, I don't quite have the words for it. I'm excited. Speaking of excited, this is not the type of thing that gets most people excited, but today we had a new chief building official start. You'll recall that we went for years without one. It's a challenge to find somebody qualified with the correct certifications. So new chief building official started today, and council within the last, I'd say 45 days, approved the creation of a code and zoning enforcement position. The chief building official will be a part of that hiring process. And so within, I'd say 30 to 45 days, that building department, along with the new software that's been approved, will be noticeably improved, and I'm excited about that. Finally, I would like to talk about what is perhaps the most stressful topic for me every year, and that is this Thursday, which is Halloween. We choose Trick or Treat Night based on recommendation from the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, which orchestrates essentially a Central and Southern Ohio unified Trick or Treat Night. So there's a a whole rationale for when it happens on Halloween, when it doesn't happen on Halloween. And this year, Trick or Treat is on the 31st. Every year without fail, it rains on the 31st, and that is projected to be the same occurrence this year. Last I checked, there was a 69% chance of rain, but it's also going to be a high of 78 that day. We will go forward in the rain with Trick or Treat. We advise safety. Kids are lit and not in the streets. For particularly busy areas, Fairway in particular, Fairway will be closed to through traffic to encourage safety. Police department and fire department have arranged for that. But most of all, we want kids and families to be safe and enjoy that night, and brush your teeth before you go to bed. That concludes my report.
Thanks, Mayor. I didn't know it was that spooky for you on Halloween, but I guess we'll move on from that. Next, we'll go to Auditor Spetnagel.
The budget's moving right along. We had another meeting today, and the next meeting will be November the 6th. It's a Wednesday at 5:30. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Law Director Villaroo.
Thank you. There's a lot on the agenda tonight. Item number 11 was actually requested by our office, the annual ordinance relating to the agreement with the county for the payment of the costs regarding the indigent defense. And so we just look forward to getting these through. And thank you. That's my report.
Thank you. We'll now move to audience participation. Any person wishing to address the council must first provide his or her name and address. Comments shall be limited to 5 minutes. I'll give you a warning when there is 1 minute remaining.
Hi, Dave White, 179 Church Street. Quick question. There's $40 million for improvements at Tangi. Is that true? That's okay. I'd just like to offer if there's any possibility of using some of those funds for protection of habitat of both the transient as well as the permanent residents down there. Talking about ducks, talking about the wildlife. There's a opportunity to enhance the ability of those residents, those transient visitors to the pond, to the park. Please let's consider that in any of the proposals and any of the development, because obviously something's going to be happening down there. It's a lot of money. Thank you. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Okay, microphone.
The microphone's right here.
Okay. I don't think I need one, but we'll see. All right.
Excuse me, name and
I'm
address.
Janet Griffith. I live
you.
at 603 Comanche Road. Can you hear me, everybody? Okay. Gary and I were at the wrong place at the right time last Tuesday on the 22nd at 5 o'clock at the Carlisle building. I had been to a previous event like a week and a half before, heard that there was going to be open meeting on the plans for the park. And so I told him to put it on our calendar because I'm extremely interested in the park and what's going on, always have been. And so we went to this meeting. We were there 15 minutes early and before anybody else got there, and we slid in by these three men. Of course, you all know I can't see. So Gary says there's three men sitting there. So I said, who are you? And they said they were the planners for the whole park area. And they're the ones that are going to make, the plans. They're going to tell us what they're going to do. All right. So we sat there and I tried to ask them questions, and they said they were going to put it up on the big screen and I would see what was going to go on. The public has never had any prior, and they know what they're going to do, inclination or meeting or anything telling us what is going to go on, asking our opinion on the park. $40 million is a lot of money. For one thing, they should clean the park lake. But that's not what they had in mind. We're going to have a campus in our city park. It's going to take the majority of the land as you go from Paint Street into the park toward the Y on the right. The majority of the land is going to this campus. They called it a campus. Green space is disappearing. Once you put buildings up, and there's more than one building, if they were going to remodel the Armory, yes, it needed remodeling, and it needed the Convention and Visitors Bureau going to go in there. That's fine. It's a low-key item. And offices are going to go in there. That's fine. It needs to be used, and it needs to be remodeled. It's a beautiful building. The top floor is going to be an event center, which houses 250 people. That's unacceptable. That's too many people utilizing the park that isn't for families and isn't for children on the weekends. According to the drawing, they're adding to the Armory on one end, adding on the other end buildings. I think there's 3 or 4 buildings that are going to go up. According to one of the drawings, there's a 4-story high tower that's going to go up in our park, supposedly to see, I guess, over the flood wall, and what for? Maybe the side of the river. I don't know what they're saying. I thought they said mounds. I don't know what mounds would be there, but I've got it on tape because I taped the meeting because I'm blind. So anyway, also, they're going to take the entrance to the park out on Paint Street. They're going to put a roundabout up on Paint Street. But the worst part of it is they're going to have a road supposedly all the way around the park so that people can get around, and there's going to be parking. There's, according to them, 360 spaces now that we have for parking. I suppose they're counting the Armory parking, which is a good bit, the city parking underneath by the fish stand. I suppose they're counting that. That's all probably going to disappear because the amphitheater's going in, which we've always talked about an amphitheater. Even in the master plan before, there was an amphitheater there. Hope it's a small one so that it's small venues that go in there, not taking more space than you need. And and there's a pavilion coming down, and they're going to move Diamond, the little Diamond, Ball Diamond. They're going to move it over by the high school, not high school, the City Diamond. The high school uses sometimes, but I think they got their own now. So they're going to move it over there. Now, the Bulmer Diamond that we used for Pony League when my son played, they're going to rearrange that according to the thing. And like CHS did with their Ball Diamond, the batters are going to be facing the sun in the evening. That's a big mistake. Somebody that didn't know about ball designed that. Needs to be redesigned. Another thing, they're going to take and make two-way road around the Enderlin Circle where the Shine on Chiillicothe does their lights and stuff. That whole U there is going to be 2 lane. All right, one going one way, one going the other. They're going to have parallel parking on each side of that. That's wide. That's taking a city road and putting it in the only little park that we have left. You might as not call it the Octangie Park anymore. You might as well call it the Armory Complex. We shouldn't be putting a complex in the park to begin with. The Armory should have left and been done really nicely and put low-key stuff in there. Let the children have their playground. They're downsizing the playground, by the way. Let the children have their playground. They're moving the skate park. They don't know what they're going to do with it. They're going to put pickle courts in somewhere. Now, I don't know where that is. And they're going to make Water Street one street, two lanes, one going one way, one going the other, with parking on each side of it. That's what they intend to do. Now, the citizens, normal citizens, weren't invited on the board. I don't know who's on the board to study this before it was ever planned. Somebody from normal people should have been there, not people from ATINA and from the Convention and Visitor Bureau. Those kinds of people don't know what we do in the park. We raised our kids there. That park is supposed to be peaceful. Look up the definition in the park in Webster's dictionary. It tells you it should be green space. It should be for recreational things. When you put a structure in there, you cannot move it. In other words, if you don't like it in 20 years, it's there to stay. When you put pickleball courts and volleyball courts and things like that, just like the skate park, they're moving it, you can move those things. They're not permanent structures. But somebody needs to be thinking about Ross County, because we are a Ross County supported levy in the park. The citizens of Ross County use our park. They use it for birthday parties. They use it for family gatherings. They use it our playground. People from Jackson and from Waverly come in and use our playground. But the citizens of Chiillicothe also use that when they're living in apartments and they have small yards like I do. They take their kids to the park and they want to have a peaceful time. They don't want to be fighting traffic and fighting all this stuff. So when you are thinking of our park and giving it away, and I'm going to tell you, we should not be competing with private business and putting weddings and stuff up on top when we have venues right in Chiillicothe that need the business. We should be promoting our private business, not competing with it. We have no right to do that as a governmental body. So somebody needs to give you the other side of the story so that when you see this grandiose, yes, everything's beautiful when it's drawn out. They make it look beautiful.
You have 1 minute.
So I would like a public hearing. I would like somebody in the council to propose that there is a public hearing on this with answers and question time for the public so they can express before this goes too far. And can I have an extension on my time, please?
Absolutely, but let me just say before you go on, I've never heard any suggestion that there wouldn't be a public meeting about this?
It's too late. They're going to hire a construction guy in December, way before the project's ever approved or the plans are done, so he can speed it up. They have to have all this done by October of 2026. They want to start moving ground in the spring, and they want the buildings to start in the fall. We are not being consulted. We need to have equal time here with our government to express what we would like. Yes, we did that thing at the Majestic. We did it too. And we'd like this, and we'd like this, and we'd like this, but we didn't think it was going to cost us our park. You might as well not call it a park, because we're not going to have anything left. So I'm happy that we got the $40 million. Let's clean up the lake. Let's put a sidewalk from the lake up behind the cabooses so families don't have to climb that hill. It's dangerous. Let's fix what we've got and make it beautiful. And we do have a beautiful park. Every president, every candidate that's come here has bragged on our park. Very few cities have green space, and we're not going to have it either. So I'm begging you for more than one public hearing, and let's get this straightened out and see what the citizens of this city want before we go on and have something that we can't ever redo. And we don't have to rush about doing things. Every time we rush, we make mistakes. Every time. So let's plan this right with input. And I'm sorry, but I'm fervent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. John Thacker, 990 Columbus Street, apartment 307. Speaking on behalf of item number 16 on tonight's agenda, whether it is to show our displeasure with racist acts or whether it's amended to include other hate, let's say crimes or whatever, it's not intended in any way to prevent people to exercise their right to free speech. That's not what this is about. It's just to show our displeasure with some of the acts that have happened here in Chiillicothe and that we hope do not continue to happen. But I can think of other instances in which things have happened other than the one that certainly propelled this to the City Council's attention. I'm not certain if it's required to have it be voted on tonight as a waiver of the three-year rule. I'm sure that there would probably be an opportunity to at least, as you mentioned, perhaps amend it so that it includes more wide open wording. I think that's it. And I do want to apologize because I look like I'm wearing a tablecloth. But you know what? At some point you go through your closet and you find something that you have no choice. You haven't worn it yet for a while. And it is winter, so I apologize. It looks like a tablecloth. I know, but I'm telling you, okay, if you've ever seen a tablecloth in the past. So take my word for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to old business. Is there any old business?
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Is there a second? Second, Mr. Creed. Clerk will call the roll.
Payne?
Yes. Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Kroll?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
We're in executive session. One other, we're out of executive session. One item of old business, the Nonprofit Funding Committee has recommended that the council review all of the requests that came to them. As you'll recall, we asked for them to just tell us whether it was worthy of consideration by council, since they weren't going to be in a position to do any budgeting or looking at the numbers, those kinds of things. And they've recommended that each of those be considered. I will make a committee assignment of all of those to the same committee to make sure that there's consistency in the review, and then we'll go forward from there. But I hope to do that in the next week or two to make that recommendation and send that on to the committee so that we can take a look at that and go forward and get those requests resolved.
President Shoemaker.
Ms. President?
I'd like to make a motion at this time to waive the 3-day receipt rule on the agenda for this evening.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. McKeever. Clerk will call the roll.
Payne,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The 3-day rule on the agenda is waived. Petitions and correspondence. There isn't a vote to come out of executive session. You vote to go in, but when you come back, according to the rules from the Ohio Attorney General, when you come back, you just simply come out of executive session. I can get you the site for that. I understand some, I've been in a lot of organizations that they do vote to come out, but quite frankly, I took a look at that in the Open Meetings Act from the Attorney General's information that they send to us, and that's the way they recommend it be done. Thanks.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. I've received one piece of correspondence. It is an email from Stephanie Renner, and it reads, I'm writing to express my strong support for the agenda items scheduled for the October 28th meeting, listed as item 16, a resolution denouncing the practice of racism in the city of Chiillicothe. This resolution is a significant step toward fostering a more inclusive and equitable community, and I'm grateful that the council is taking action to address this critical issue. Please share my support with the council as they consider this resolution.
Thank you. Is there any new business to come before City Council tonight? The one thing I would like to raise is that our next regularly scheduled meeting would be on Veterans Day. It is my intention to move that, unless council, their intentions is different, simply because I think that's appropriate to move it. I was looking to move it to Wednesday the 13th, but I also didn't want to put anybody in a situation where I was burdening them because of the particular day that I selected. Okay, so I'll announce tonight that the next regular meeting will be on Wednesday, November 13th, but I will be sending out a notice of that to everyone to let everyone know that we're moving that due to the Veterans Day holiday. Next, we'll move to reading of ordinances and resolutions.
Thank you, President Shoemaker. We have 16 items on our agenda this evening. Item number 1 is the third reading of an ordinance repealing and replacing Section 1311.02, Schedule of Fees of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe.
Clerk will call the roll.
Payne,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
The ordinance is adopted. Next ordinance.
Item number 2 is the third reading of an ordinance establishing and updating the Chiillicothe Building Department residential fee schedule and non-residential schedule.
Clerk will call the roll.
Payne? Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. The next ordinance.
Item number 3 is the third reading of an ordinance establishing a zoning department fee schedule for the city of Chiillicothe.
Clerk will call the roll.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. The next ordinance.
Item number 4 is the third reading of an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 901, Street Openings of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe.
Clerk will call the roll.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Next ordinance.
Item number 5 is the third reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 905.01, Application for Curb Cut Permits of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe.
Clerk will call the roll.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Next ordinance.
Item number 6 is the third reading of an ordinance updating the water management and sediment control regulations of the City of Chiillicothe.
Clerk will call the roll.
Payne?
Yes.
Nickerson?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
McKeever?
Yes.
Dement?
Yes.
Preston?
Yes.
Prohl?
Yes.
Creed?
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted. Next ordinance.
Item number 7 is the second reading of an ordinance amending Section 151.02 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio, titled Court Personnel, and appropriating funds for the remainder of 2024.
The ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 8 is the second reading of an ordinance reallocating funds in the amount of $18,000 to pay for fire department Opticom equipment and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 9 is the second reading of an ordinance accepting and appropriating funds in the amount of $1,000 for the fire department's senior home inspection program.
Ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 10 is the second reading of an ordinance appropriating additional funds for the PY23 CDBG grant and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 11 is the second reading of an ordinance providing for an agreement between the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio, and the Ross County Commissioners, whereby the City of Chiillicothe, Ohio, will continue to be eligible through 2025 for state reimbursement of costs incurred in appointing counsel for indigent criminal defense.
The ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 12 is the second reading of an ordinance appropriating $17,723.69 for payment of an outstanding ODOT invoice and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 13 is the second reading of an ordinance to approve current replacement pages to the Chiillicothe Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 14 is the first reading of an ordinance authorizing the City of Chiillicothe to automatically accept and appropriate insurance reimbursements, grants, donations, and other funds received for a specific purpose and in an amount under $10,000 and declaring an emergency.
Ordinance will move to the next agenda. Next ordinance.
Item number 15 is the first reading of an ordinance appropriating funds for various end-of-year expenses and declaring an emergency.
ordinance. We'll move to the next agenda item, next ordinance.
Item number 16 is the first reading of a resolution denouncing the practice of racism in the city of Chiillicothe, Ohio.
President Shoemaker, I'd like to make a motion to amend the language for the title of this resolution.
And how would you like to amend that?
I would like to have it amended to a resolution denouncing and condemning all forms of hate, intolerance, and discrimination in the city of Chiillicothe, Ohio.
Second by Ms. Nickerson. Clerk will call the roll.
Could you repeat that quickly so I can make sure I have it down correctly?
So it would read as a resolution denouncing and condemning all forms of hate, intolerance, and discrimination in the city of Chiillicothe, Ohio. And also where committee it came out of. It came out of community affairs rather than Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk can call the roll.
Payne,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
Resolution will move to the next agenda. If there's nothing else to come before the council, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Dement, second by Ms. Nickerson. Clerk will call the roll.
Payne,
Yes.
Nickerson,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
McKeever,
Yes.
Dement,
Yes.
Preston,
Yes.
Prohl,
Yes.
Creed.
Yes.
We are adjourned, and I apologize for my voice for tonight.